may I be transferred to dispatch, please?
Yes, sir. Hold just.
Hi. Since I've had trouble reporting the crime that's taken place, I just want to let you guys know if these suspects do illegally trespass, I want this recorded now, if they illegally trespass on the property after we've called the police, and this is all recorded and everything, and you wouldn't take it down, we will shoot them, okay? So if they end up dead or whatever, it's all going to be, the court's going to throw it out. We have it all recorded that I've tried to call the police here to have these people charged, and then you refuse to take their names down. So we have firearms. If they do illegally trespass on it, they will be shot immediately. I'm just letting you know. And then you guys can come clean them up and we'll have dinner. Sound good?
Let me let you speak to the supervisor here, okay?
All right.
Yes, sir. This is Alicia. Can I help you?
Hi. I tried calling earlier a couple times. I had some guys, they just won't leave me alone, and my older father, he's getting quite elderly, and he lives down there, and he's a property owner, and they've been trying to take advantage of my father and me by intimidation. And they know my father's getting old, and they know that I will be most likely given by kinship the ownership to the land down there in Tennessee, and they just been threatening and all that, and I just wanted, and they even called up here and they discharged their firearms and everything, but I just want them to know that we also have firearms down there on our own. We own the land outright, no mortgage, nothing. We own it outright.
Okay. Well, what is your address down here?
It's in Savannah, Tennessee.
Okay. And is that where they have been threatening?
Well, I guess my dad seen him at the gas station, and he was sort of normal. See, so I went to Linden Middle School when I was a kid for 1 year, and then I came back to Tennessee, and they're like these old friends, and I understand how it is, but I've sort of moved on, and they have moved on too. But then they just called the other day, and they were doing that, and I just worry for my dad down there because I'm not down there, and I know how it is, and I've heard stories about people. Yeah, and I'm just. I'm trying to secure the will, right? Because I really need to secure the will for when my dad does pass. So these people were getting in. It was this Kyle Reister, okay? He's of Tennessee, and all that. And he's just been harassing me ever since. And then they did that discharge of the firearms, and then everything was fine. And then I called here, and I kind of felt like I was treated wrongly by the dispatch here. And now I'm kind of over it. But if it does.
Well, sir, here's the thing. I just want you to understand our point. Legally, if they harassed your dad or your family in Savannah, legally, we have no power in that jurisdiction. So you would need to call, even if the perpetrator lives in Linden. The thing is, the actual crime, so to speak, was committed in Savannah, and you would need to speak to those officers to file a report, because we have no jurisdiction in Savannah to get a report from him to file charges on anybody. You understand what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying there. The crime never. See, it wasn't. It was one of these on the phone. I wasn't on their property. They weren't on our property. It was just a lot of hoopla, and then they shot the gun a couple times, and they realized what they were doing, because I know how it is. I used to shoot my gun down on our property in Tennessee, but it's a lot different in Canada. And I was with the police when they did it, and the police, like, that conduct is not allowed in Canada. Discharging on the way they did it or whatever, and. So then that's why I said I was going to have to contact the federal authorities. But it just, when I contacted the dispatch here, it wasn't good, because she wouldn't take their names down. And then it's like, even though they haven't went on my father's property yet, but we've tried reporting it, is all I said. So if they did end up going on the property illegally or whatever, and we've already reported that they harassed them at the gas station, they called me and harassed me, and I got some constables to also that will also testify. I just want to make, because I don't want to see anybody get shot. Me, them, anybody. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, what's your father's name?
His name's John.
John.
Yeah.
And what's his last name?
Well, see, why are you just taking our names when the perpetrators are the ones that committed the crime?
Well, you gave me the name of Kyle Reister.
Yeah, but I feel like it's a family thing down there. Like, you guys are trying to cover up the things that they're doing because their families have been there a little bit longer than our family has, is what it feels like.
No, sir. No, sir. What I was going to do, I was going to advise my officers, because Mr. Reister is in our county, who he has been harassing, but I was going to give you the number to Hardin County Dispatch.
Yeah.
Since that's Savannah, and that is where it was committed and where you would need to file a report to get a warrant.
Well, it actually wasn't committed in Hardin, right? My dad lives down there, but the act was committed against me here. It was a federal, I guess it would be considered a federal violation, because the threats were made against me. I live in Canada, but technically by kinship, I own the property in Tennessee, and my father still lives down there. And by property law or whatever, the way they threatened or whatever, I just want to make sure that it's all documented that if they ever did, which I don't think they would ever do, decide to go down to Savannah to travel down across county borders, and then
Okay, but where did the threats take place?
I'm sure it took place on the
Perry
property.
County or in Hardin County?
The threats took place in Perry County, yes.
Okay, it did take place in Perry County.
But they're going to consider it an electronic through electronic communications. Yeah, like their physical body was in Perry County, Tennessee, but they electronically made the threat or whatever. But it's all right. I have it all recorded. We don't have to go any further. I don't think they're going to go on the property. But if they did, we have it all recorded or whatever in court or whatever, and that would get justified as a justifiable homicide.
Sir, if it happens in Hardin County,
Yeah.
then this call, even though it's recorded, it won't cover anything, because that's where you need to talk to their dispatch.
Oh, ma'am.
Police.
This is, I work as an attorney. This is just one call of many calls that could be played. So if hypothetically it did happen in Hardin County, which it hasn't, but if it did, and my dad had to defend his land or whatever, and had to shoot them, then this would be one of several calls that could be put up in court to abolish any charge that would be put against my father. It would be considered. It would be considered because of the other calls.
We don't know your name or your father's.
Well, because it hasn't gotten to that point. It hasn't gotten to that point. Everybody's doing fine. I just wanted to call and see and talk to somebody and all that. Everything else is fine.
Okay, well, we'll be glad to have an officer call you if you would like.
I've already talked to an officer.
No, I'm not an officer. I'm a dispatcher.
You're only one person, like I said, that I've talked to, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you already talked to a Perry County officer?
I haven't talked to an Perry County officer, but I'm going to be I'm going to be moving along. I think I'm going to have to get in contact with the federal authorities.
Okay, well, if you want to talk to a Perry County officer, I'll be glad to have one give you a call.
Thank you, and I don't mean to be rude, but if anything, like, happens again or whatever, because it's at the point right now where it was a couple days ago, it wasn't today, and they were good friends of mine and all that. Like, it's kind of done with, right? I understand everything like that. I just, hypothetically, in the future, if anything were to happen bad or anything, then I had called you to tell you that it had happened. See, I'm in Canada. I'm not in Tennessee.
Yes, sir. I understand that, and yes, you have called. These phone calls are recorded, but I'm just saying that I'll be glad to help you and let an officer talk to you. But on the information you've given me, I can't. There's nothing I can do as a dispatcher. All I can do is let my officer give you a call.
Yes, ma'am. And the reason why I haven't given you any information is because I do not really want to proceed further. But if anything happens anymore, I will be equipped with all the information needed to press like criminal charges. Like I'll be ready to go on that. I'll talk to the officer.
Give us a call. I hope nothing else happens.
I don't think it will.
If our officers can help, then you can call us, and we'll be glad to put you in contact with one.
Yes, ma'am. I understand. If the guy, if they're out there committing crimes in Perry County or whatever, which I don't think they really are, or whatever. I think it was just a little dispute or whatever that didn't really get too out of hand. But if they did, I'd call you. We could get an officer out, talk to him, talk to what's going on, see what's going on in person and all that, and everything like that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. I appreciate you sitting down and talking with me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Call us if you need it. Okay.